Hi guys, this is Tyler here with a follow-up video to my last podcast, episode 4 of Barbells and Black Belts, and that was with John Bowman. John was one of my friends that I met at Finley Barbell. He became one of my members, introduced himself to me, a lot of his expertise and coaching, and yeah, we just got to talking and trying to collaborate with what we're doing and what we're building within his community and my community, and just with our coaching and bouncing ideas off of each other and just collaborating towards getting good ideas out there and good coaching out there and getting people connected with things that they're passionate about and that they want to do as well. There was really fun and like cool similarities between what John talks about, the way he goes about his life, and in a very practical way too. It's very easy to see what he's passionate about. I mean, I'll tell you, talk about throwing, talk about coaching, and his career in those things as well too, as he continues as a master athlete as well. I feel like our sports are really good for being able to continue on. As I kind of often joke with a lot of people about like what my favorite sport is. If not jiu-jitsu, it's football. I played college football, but you don't catch a lot of 41-year-old dudes, going playing football these days. But jiu-jitsu gives us a good opportunity to. And in John's case, throwing, he can still go to tournaments and compete as an independent, and that still keeps him going too. And with doing that, it keeps us like more cutting edge, and we're never going to be as master athletes like on the cutting edge of competition. Jiu-jitsu, like someone who's competing professionally, traveling the world, obviously the United States, things like that. I think they're sometimes the guys who are the savants and some of the trendsetters on certain things, because they get them to work. But fundamental aspects of jiu-jitsu, it's not just that one guy that's getting it to work right now too, because that might be his thing. I think some of the things when you see competition continue with later athletes and stuff, you get more of a diverse range of people that are making these types of, I know John, like, I don't mean to speak on throwing tips and everything like that. That's John's, realm, but he basically said, hey, if you stick to these things, if you do X, Y, and Z, I mean, I think on the podcast, he was like, you put A and B together, it's going to equal C. Like your good technique, you do these proper things, you train it the right way, and you're going to equal results. I had the same kind of feeling, I have the same belief, I guess, in jiu-jitsu, where if you stick to certain things amongst a large population of people, and I'm talking like playing close guard, playing half guard, takedowns, takedown defense, back attacks, mount attacks, side control. Like when you keep it inside of those realms, it's going to work for a very large amount of people. And this is, again, not to get on a completely separate topic here, but it's the pitfalls of how, someone gets their blue belt and they start watching what, I don't know, somebody that's really squirrely, like Lachlan Giles, this guy, Levi, if they're trying to emulate that style, I'm like, good luck, man. He's a style of his own, and everybody's kind of like that too. So it's okay to like maybe start to figure out some of the concepts and some of the things they're doing, but it can never replace that foundational training. That there's a reason why these guys that have continued on jiu-jitsu from when they were, I'll use Sanji Hibera, one of my favorites. Sanji uses this and he'll improve those techniques. Not saying he's going to use the same thing, but it's like, you don't see Sanji out here winning with flavor of the week stuff, unless he created a move of his own or something. But it's good, tried and true methods. And talking to John, it's very much the parallel with throwing too. Hey, you stick to these ones, you stick to these methods, you stick to these tried and true things. It's the same in strength conditioning too. I get people that, I just got someone this last week about asking me if I was getting more bodybuilding equipment in my gym. And that's weird to me, because to me, like, everything in my Finley Barbell gym here is bodybuilding equipment. I mean, you can build your body with it. I see bands, dumbbells, plates laying on the floor. I mean, those are bodybuilding equipment to me. So I feel like whenever we have this mode of training that's new, and when I mean, I'm using like the terminology here, like a mode would be like using a bike, using dumbbells, like a particular style of training, and it's new and people don't know much about it, and they're like, yeah, that's the ticket, that's the thing that's missing here. It's not the fact that I don't go to the gym 5 days a week, it's because I'm not doing, weighted hula hooping and like all this. I mean, I've seen so many trends over the years that get going, and it was very refreshing to hear people that are at high levels in not only competition, coaching. I keep hearing the same thing when I'm talking to Todd. Todd's like, yeah, cool. They're like, we can micro it a little bit and talk about these details and maybe introduce new equipment or new things that come out. I'm not scared of new stuff at all. But if we don't stick to some foundational principles and foundational components of our training, whether it be throwing, running, jiu-jitsu, discus, whatever, like, we're going to have problems here. We're trying to skip steps, essentially. And that was one of the things that, I mean, me and John could probably sit there on the podcast and discuss some of the similarities, but it's exactly the same thing, whether it's jiu-jitsu or like football that I've played in, and MMA I was a pro in. And if you don't have that good foundational aspect of how you're approaching your training, with a mindset of, I'm using this training to improve the fitness of my body, or I'm using this training to whatever the mission is for that one too. I think sometimes that's an unclear thing too. And John really appreciates me. He's heard me tell a couple of people in the gym that are my jiu-jitsu guys. He was working out, and he was overhearing a conversation where I used the phrase that we never can get better at our sport inside the gym. That's not a thing that's real. I've been using this all the way, like back when I was at the university level, and I would have someone come into the gym and ask me some form of a question like that. Like, what kind of exercises can I do to get better at insert? I've heard a couple. Like, mostly it's like, what kind of exercises should I be doing in the gym for jiu-jitsu? And that's a loaded question, because just like I was saying before, like all the equipment is bodybuilding equipment. Like, all the exercises are, going to be good for jiu-jitsu most. I mean, like, but if you get someone doing no push-ups and then you get them doing, 50 push-ups a day. I mean, I'm keeping it simple on purpose, because you've already increased that person's fitness a little bit more, and they're going to be a better athlete to bring in on the jiu-jitsu mats. I really like to treat the weight room like it's building armor. Like, and if you have that kind of mindset, is we're not coming into the weight room to get better at throwing. And John, I think he said that specific thing to me, whether or not it be on the podcast or whether it was on, just in our conversations. But he's like, yeah, that's not how it works. Like, you don't get better at lifting and get better at throwing, and vice versa, obviously. He always talks about it like kind of a Goldilocks zone, like finding a good level of training that can support his throwing, because he notices that if he puts in too much weight training, then his numbers go down too. It starts to really kind of cook the central nervous system. So, there is a time where you can run into conflict with that. And of course, we can talk about exercise selection, and we can talk about what are the appropriate ones or more appropriate ones to train if you're a thrower or a jiu-jitsu athlete or a football player or whatever else. That's completely fine. But you have to start with, again, those foundational aspects. You have to start with that foundational mindset of whatever the mission is, and what we're trying to do. Like, if John goes out to, God, I can't even remember the name, whatever they call it. The ring, maybe, I don't know. John, if you watch this. But the throwing ring, you go out there, I mean, he's having the mindset to like, okay, I'm going to work on these techniques. And he tells me a lot of times when he brings out athletes, he'll have like 3 good foundational concepts that we need to work on today. So each one of those throws are going to have some of those elements, you know, built into them. So, hey, there's my neighbor, Becky. Hi, Becky. But, there's my dogs noticing. But, if you go into the weight room and you're saying that your goal on this one is, I'm going to work on my pulling exercises. I'm going to work on my pulling muscles and add in explosive exercises, you know, to increase athleticism. I mean, that sounds very rational, as opposed to someone that says, I'm doing these exercises to get better for jiu-jitsu, or better at jiu-jitsu, I guess is this thing. That's a little bit better of a mindset to have too. So not only, again, I just want to kind of wrap up some of these after show talks of like how I feel about some of the topics that we discussed and to further on them. And again, some of this stuff too, I get people at Finley Jiu-Jitsu Academy or at Finley Barbell, and they'll ask me about particular concepts that are on here too. And I talk to, I don't know, 100 people a day or something like that, between the businesses. I mean, I've already had multiple personal training clients today and talked to other people within the gym, or when we go out to practice, you know, we'll have 20 people on the mats, and, you know, some of them that listen to the podcast and stuff. It runs very, very similar to, you know, it seems how John's community works as well. People are looking for information. People are looking to get better, and whatever that kind of should look like, you know, whether it be in throwing or jiu-jitsu or something in the weight room. That's why my community that I kind of help out and that I'm trying to grow is a little bit diverse, but I think we can all find really, really sound fundamental principles that we can, if you just start kind of operating that way, is how you go about things. You'll notice that they start to slip into other areas of your life a little bit too. Like, okay, well, what's the mission? Like, all right, well, I gotta work out tomorrow, or I'm going to Chicago to compete this weekend. So we get to bed early, or you eat better food, or you know, keep going on that one too. Again, so it starts with foundational principles of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to get as like kind of your mission. And then you build on it from there. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to some of the stuff. And let me know if you see, you know, something on the podcast that you have a question on or something. Definitely throw it into our comments, whether it be on the YouTube or on the Patreon. That's completely fine too. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate a lot of the local people. And those of you guys who watch these videos and stuff, you definitely know who you are, because you come and talk to me in the locker room or talk to me about Finley Barbell. And you know, I appreciate it. And I my big passion besides the sports itself is to coach and to help too, and to help, you know, people that want to get better and want to improve, you know, their fitness or improve their, you know, throwing capabilities or jiu-jitsu skills, whatever that is. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon.